And he's got up from the walking pneumonia bed to be here. And we appreciate that effort too. As I said earlier, I'm indebted to a lot of people who I call talent scouts, who bring potential speakers to my attention. And many, many of these speakers have come that way. I hope you like their selections. The next speaker will be introduced by another of my talent scouts, Robin Quayle, one of our former speakers on several occasions from Atlanta, Georgia, who has a very wide acquaintance and knowledge of a number of people. And she called me not too long ago when we found that John DeCamp was not going to be able to be here, and told me about our next speaker. So I'm pleased to introduce Robin Quayle, once again at Global Sciences, to introduce our speaker, who is new to Global Sciences today. Welcome, Robin. And then Danny.
Well, I just want to tell you first that our next speaker is not a public speaker. This is really his first public talk, and he's very nervous, I want you to know. So I want you to open up your hearts and give him your love. He also has this bad throat, as I have too. But I think that you will love his information. He has the ring of authenticity to me. I think many people in this room for many years have heard many channels, many psychics, many prophets, and many other people talk about the earth changes and the things that are going to come to pass in the next 12 to 13 years. Danny does not call himself a psychic, he does not call himself a channel, and he probably doesn't call himself a prophet, but he really is. He has a tremendous record of accuracy for many, many, many years. I think about 20 years now he's been getting messages. But something happened to him or to his son that he'll tell you about 10 years ago. And so he knows now what his mission is, and he's been told that he has to fulfill his mission, and his mission is to tell the people about what's going to happen. We've all been wondering if these things are really going to happen, where are we going to go? Where are the safe zones going to be? And we look at Gordon Michael Scallion's map, and we look at the I Am America map, and we run from one channel and one psychic and one book and another, and we say, no, it's here, no, it's there, no, it's here. But anyway, even if we know where the safe zone is, what are we going to do when we get there? And so Danny has some of those solutions. He has plans to build a community, to build warehouses, to provide the kind of protection that we will need. And I've been teaching, I've been doing hypnotherapy, regression work for over 25 years. And besides that, I have spent my whole life studying spiritual things. And so I have seen many people, and I've worked with many psychics in many channels, helping some of them to develop and open up and overcome their fears and various things. And I haven't known Danny very long, but I am tremendously impressed with what I hear, and I think you will be too. And this is Linda Vepula sitting over here, who's going to do the slides for him, and she is also working with Danny in this project, and with Danny and his wife, and she is the publisher of Angel Times magazine, which I think probably most of you have seen. It's a wonderful publication. Danny Kasson.
Can everybody hear me all right? No? Well, I have... Is this better? Okay. I won't blow up with these on, will I? Okay. Before I start, I have one thing to say to 3 of you in this room. You know who I am, and I know who you are. And by the time I'm done speaking, if you're still present in this room, I'm going to show everyone exactly who you are and where you come from. That's the only warning I'm going to give. You've harassed my family enough. You'll not do it anymore. And you'll not start on me here. Oh. I come from, originally from Ohio. Oh, what'd I do wrong? Okay. I originally come from Ohio. I resided there almost all my life as a child. From there, I was in the military from 1971 to 1974. I relocated in 1978 back to Germany. Half my family is German and the other half is American. I've had these visions and things since I was a child, but I was raised in a very, very strict, my mother's side was Southern Baptist. And boy, I caught the board more than I can think about it. But I was always taught, people like me need to be committed. People like me, they just don't talk about these type of things. On my father's side is a very, very strict Catholic. Trying to tell people since I was small to things I've had to see has been very, very difficult because of skepticism, the doubts that people have. They just don't understand, not so much I don't think that they don't want to believe. They're afraid to believe. What I'm going to try to do is take you on a journey and the out-of-body experiences that I've had to have throughout my life. This is not designed to frighten anyone or to make people, it's more or less to make people understand. These things that's getting ready to take place, they're happening right now. The last meeting I attended 3 weeks ago, I told people, I will give you something that you can look forward to on what's going to be happening within the next week to 14 days. And I had a very good response from people there. But they also had a very hard time thinking I got off the wrong end of the banana boat. Well, the things I told them, they happened. What had taken place on the East Coast, never before recorded weather experiences, has taken place. What's happened on the West Coast, never before recorded earth changes. Now they're looking here within the next 5 to 6 days. They are going to have the most devastating mudslides in the history of California. You're looking at Quebec, what's taking place up here. Hundreds of thousands of people are being without power. They're being made homeless. People here, they say, well, Danny, you're right again. I don't want to be right. I want them to listen to me. I don't want a follower from any one of you. Don't try to follow me. I know where I have to go when these things come to pass. No one in here is going to want to follow where I have to go. I'm going to take you now, going back to 1978 when I first returned to Germany and I worked with a civilian company. And this, it's hard to talk about because it's people that was very, very close to me. I kept having dreams, and at that time I had no idea. If you would have told me out-of-body experience, I would have asked you, what banana boat did you get off of? I didn't understand what it meant. I didn't get into all these things dealing with psychics, dealing with these natural phenomenons, dealing with the earth changes. My wife and I had more problems in our marriage because she kept saying, you're drinking 14 to 16 pots of coffee a day. You don't sleep. You're taking these caffeine pills. You're doing everything you can possibly do to keep, just not to go to sleep. But every time I tried to tell her what I was saying, it created problems. I had sat down one night because I traveled throughout Europe, and I tried to tell people, I just figured, let me try it this one night, just one time. These are our best friends. If I can't tell them, who can I tell? And after we had dinner, we were sitting out on the balcony, and we overlooked the Rhine River and 12th century and 14th century castles. And I started bringing it up, and I said, you know, call me crazy, but I said, I keep seeing, for some reason, at that time was the Soviet Union. I've been to Berlin many times. And I said, I can't understand. I said, I keep seeing the fall of the Soviet Union. I keep seeing the satellite countries blowing off in different directions. I said, I keep seeing thousands of people climbing all over the Berlin Wall. I said, these things, I said, you know, I've had the same dream, the same vision for the past 4 weeks. It's driving me out of my mind. These people that turned out that I thought would listen to me, I'm sorry. It's very hard for anyone, much less me, to understand what's taking place. They said that if I keep talking the way I'm talking, they said, this is ludicrous. A man of your intelligence, how can you believe this garbage? A country, one of the, the second or third largest power in the world, and you're saying it's going to just up and blow away. It doesn't exist. This was in '78. I tried telling them, I said, but the other thing I don't understand, I said, I see toys dropping from the sky. It's maiming and killing thousands. And I said, the region I see is Afghanistan. They said, this is it. I'm not taking any more. We're going. They turned against my children. They turned against my wife. That created more problems between my family because they said, again, these stupid things you keep having is literally destroying our life. I never said another word. I never talked to anyone. I kept my mouth shut. And these people that decided to ridicule me and to destroy my family today are the biggest supporters I've got. I started out in one country. That was Germany. From word of mouth today, this is from word of mouth. It's gone from Germany, Norway, Holland, Sweden, Denmark, Greece, Czechoslovakia, Poland. It increases. The things that I have, I didn't understand what it all meant, and I always rejected it. I had bought my son a new car. And because he was getting ready, he wanted to go into the Air Force. He wanted to continue his college. He had everything set up for him. And, he's 17 years old. Everything was prepared for him. And being a father, you're proud. And I figured that's what I can do. Teenagers got a bad habit. They'll get in a car, and the last thing they think about is buckling up that seatbelt. Well, I went one next step better. I bought him a new car off the showroom floor that had electronic seatbelts. What I didn't understand, the car he was driving was unsafe. Also, what I didn't understand, the onboard computer malfunctioned. This car that he was driving flipped end over end over end, and it crushed his skull. And it broke his ribs, it crushed his wrists. By the time I got to the hospital, they care flighted him to University of Cincinnati Hospital in Ohio. By the time we got there, they had him on life support. And they said we were there for 3 days and 3 nights. And the priest for the hospital came out, the neurosurgeons came out, and the social worker for the hospital came out. And they said, well, what you're gonna have to do, and I said, we really, really need you to understand this. Your son has been declared. He was declared brain dead. There was no hope. So they told us the best thing that they could do, they needed our consent to give his body parts to donors. And I said, look, we've not slept in 3 days or 3 nights. I said, we've got a 6-year-old. I'm not about to make this decision. I said, wait until tomorrow. So we went ahead that night, and I wouldn't talk to the priest. I wouldn't talk to the social, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I said, we'll wait till tomorrow. We went home, and that night, I never prayed so hard in my life as I prayed that night. And it's one of these things you beg God, take your life. Do with me what you want, but save my son. And I thought for a while I was going crazy. I'd left my body. It's the first time I ever did this like this. And I had a person come to me. And he said, and he had taken me back to the hospital where Michael was at. And I figured, well, it's a dream. These things, they're visions that's happening. So I went ahead and I followed, and I didn't know who it was, and I kept talking to him. And I kept saying, who are you? Where are we going? Why are we here? I don't understand. Tell me. All they kept telling me, he just said, Danny, you know who I am. You've asked our Father. Then that's when the next part came out, and we were standing next to my son's hospital bed. And he was not in the same room that we had left, and I didn't know this. And I didn't know this till I went back the next day. They had moved my son to a private room that had curtains around it instead of glass, to cover the glass windows. They wanted us to go in there so we would have more privacy and so last rites could be given. And when they cut the life support, that's when they were going to start taking the body parts for donors. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. I was told in the message what the next 6 months would be with my son. And he said, your son shall live. It would be hard. They said, your son has received, serious brain trauma. Even though there was no brain activity, he was not dead. He was in a coma for over 3 months. Everything they told me that had taken place with my son had taken place. When I asked, who are you? How could you tell me this? You don't know me, I don't know you, who are you? And he ran his hand, just barely touching my son's body, and it rested upon his forehead. And then, that's when he turned around to me. And he said, as you promised our Father, a life for a life. And that's when he informed me that his name was Gabriel. That is when, I guess you can say, the miracles began to happen. But I'm not like everybody else. The purpose that they've given me, I'm nothing special. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a grandfather. I don't have anywhere near the gift that some of you people have in this room. Nowhere near that gift. You're all in God's eyes special. It's focusing the energy that you have and putting it to the use in the same direction as you're doing here. I waited. This was on January 27th of 1988. I kept having again the same dreams. I was told I was to go to a region. I would know where this region's at. I would continue to be in this region. And every night I said, how do you walk away from a business, from a house, from my family? Literally thought I was crazy. My own parents turned against me. 3 days before my father died, my father apologized to me because he said, son, I really didn't know what you was trying to tell us. And it came back, and I found this was on a Friday. That next Monday morning, I was told my dad died. These things, the journeys I have to go on, I have to remember in detail everything that I see, everything that I witness, all the events that I see take place. I'm not locally, I'm globally. The events that I have, I've had every major university, at least one time or another, poke, prod, shove, do everything they can to find out my ability and my accuracy. My accuracy to this day is 100%. This isn't a joke. I'm not using this to get money out of anyone. I'm using this to give you all a message. When I've given that message, it is up to each and every one of you to decide either to listen or you can walk away from it and hope it doesn't happen. It's going to happen. A very close friend I had in Germany, and this was back in 1981, 82. He had a lot of government contracts with the United States and a lot within the European countries, especially France. I kept having the same vision about him. And I caught him one day in the underground garage in Mainz, Germany. And I said, I said, Hans, I have to tell you about this. It's driving me out of my mind. I said, I keep seeing you sitting on a couch reading a book on the left side of the couch by a table lamp. I see your wife sitting in a recliner chair off to your left. I said, I can't understand what it means. There's a knock on your front door. When you open that front door, 3 men dressed in black with ski masks on are going to come in. They're going to tie your wife up and they're going to kill you. And he laughed and laughed and he said, Danny, my friend, I think you've jumped off the deep end. I said, no, listen to me. There's something wrong. This is happening. Well, he didn't listen either. I didn't understand either. And it was a few short months later. He tried to tell me about his security systems. He tried to tell me about the guards he had posted on his property. And he chose to look the other way, and he bought me lunch, and that's the last time I seen him. After that, it made world headlines. His name was Hans Vanna. He had one of the most largest corporations in Europe that dealt with guidance systems for missiles, for nuclear devices. He dealt specifically in the Middle East, with the United States, within Europe. They had literally walked up, knocked on his front door. They tied his wife up in the chair. After she was tied up, they opened fire with machine guns, and they damn near cut him in half. I've lost. That's what I try to tell you. There's a lot of good that happens with the gift that I have, but there's also a lot of bad. I can't forget what I see. I'm not meant to forget what I see. There's things going to be taking place here up until the year 2012. They've started happening from January 1st of 1998 up until the end of April. The first 4 months of 1998 will be the stepping stone for mankind. It's already taking place. I've got the things documented back as far as the beginning of last spring, what was going to take place here, to tell people. I've been harassed by the government. I've been asked to join their social club. I will not join anyone's social club. My gift is not for sale to anybody. If I ever use my gift for political ambitions, financial, anything, I lose it. I'll not go against God. These things you all have to understand. He had shown me the safe zones that's going to take place. Could you please turn that on? There is 8 safe zones within the United States to where people can go and people can be safe. If you have to live in a pup tent, you can live in a pup tent, but you'll be safe. The centers that I've been told to build, they say, well, what in God's name do you want to build warehouses full of food, medical supplies, accommodations for people, wells over 400 foot deep? You're nuts. This isn't for me. I don't own anything. I'll own nothing. I am the Gabriel Foundation. The Gabriel Foundation is for the people. Everything that's being built here is built for the people. Whichever center that's closest to your destination, you are part owner. People will invest in stocks for their future. But you're going to see very soon that the stocks that you have put up and the money that you have placed in your banks is going to be totally useless. And there's nothing here that can be done about it. These events are going to take place. That, I've talked to people, I could tell you 2 maps. Gordon Michael Scallion, I've yet to meet. It was hard enough for me to get up here and talk to all of you. Not that I don't like you, but you scare me to death. But, you know, but Gordon Michael Scallion's map, and Dean, correct me, the other one is Lori Toy. Lori Toy has spiritual advisors, and she's not kidding when she says this. Mine's name is Yochnel. The only time I ever see Gabriel is when there's getting ready to be a worldwide catastrophe take place. Lori Toy's map, as close as I could tell you, is almost 110% correct of what's going to happen. Gordon's map, he's so close to 92%, it's frightening. All these people are trying to tell everyone what's getting ready to take place, but we can't make you listen. We can't make anyone listen. This is your life. This is the lives of your grandchildren. What we do is to try to protect our children when they get older. There's not enough time. The clock cannot be turned back. The events are taking place now. I tried telling people at the last meeting, I said, you will see within the northeastern region of China an earthquake that's going to take thousands of lives. And no one seemed, I don't want to say they doubted, but when someone comes to you and says, you know, the sky's falling tomorrow, they're going to look at you like you're nuts. The earthquake took place. It had taken over 50,000 lives in people's homes. The flooding that had taken place in Poland, Czechoslovakia, and Germany. I have called everyone, the people I know there, they've tried telling everyone what was going to happen. No one chose to listen. They chose to do one thing, another one. That was my response, another one. I take my gift very, very seriously. Sometimes I wish I didn't have it because I have to take the good with the bad. I can be with them and I see what's going on as I see you people sitting here. I have to witness these events. I have to know what's going to come. I have to tell you what's going to come. When you walk into a city the size of Atlanta and you see it completely destroyed, you go into Washington, D.C., you go into Philadelphia, you see parts of New Jersey, you see Chicago, you see all these cities destroyed. Why? And you think, well, oh, that's an old wives' tale. How many more things do you have to see before you're going to wake up and realize these things are happening now? They're not going to change. They're not going to want to go away because you think they should. Many of you have a very nice, loving, comfortable lifestyle. And that is just the way people are. They figure, well, I have a nice home, I have a nice job or a good retirement. You know, I like coming here, but my God, I'm not going to worry about the end of the world. You're wrong. It's not the end of the world. The great rebuilding that you're going to see is going to begin in at least the first 3 to the first 4 months of the year 2012. And it's going to be a rebuilding that mankind has never, ever seen before. There's only going to be, one problem with this rebuilding, if you want to call it a problem. Some people might. This one's going to be done out of love. This one's going to be done without greed. And this one's going to be done without violence. That's all going to be behind us. No one knows the time Jesus Christ is going to return to this earth. I don't know that. No one has the right to know that. That is not our decision. But I do know the great rebuilding is going to commence in 2012. I don't want people to look at me and say, well, he's got another one. No, don't do that. The biggest mistake you're making is if you think you're going to follow me or I'm looking for followers. I don't want any of you. I will help any of you as much as I can. Don't follow me. Don't look to me like I'm some kind of a guru. I'm nothing like this. I am buried in the middle of the North Georgia mountains, right smack dab in the center of this triangle. I am right about, okay, where am I? It's blurred. I'm in here somewhere, though. I'm just outside of Blue Ridge, Georgia. Well, I'm up there somewhere. I'm up and about this area. Where am I? Oh, here I am. Well, I was close. But it's right in this area. Now, you have 4 of these triangles. This is the first at the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. There's 3 more in the Appalachian Mountain chain. What everyone needs to start doing. I ran a full-page article in the hometown newspaper, a circulation of about 12,000 people. And you've got to understand, God, I mean, you say he don't have a sense of humor, he does. Who in the world would stick someone in the middle of the Bible Belt and say, go for it? You know, I've been threatened. I've been told I'm going to be sent back to Ohio in a pine box. They've done it, but the thing I'm trying to say, out of 12,000 people, the response I got was overwhelming. I got over 400 responses. People are being called within these triangles for a reason. They don't know why. These are not stupid people. These are highly intelligent people. They're from Fortune 500 companies. They're corporate owners. I have placed 5 women together from all different states in the union. All 5 of these women opened their journal, and I said, don't say a word to anyone. Read what you have in your journal. Their journal was identical in every way, shape, or form of what they see is going to be taking place, why they were told to come there. One just moved out of this area, out of Florida, and she had a computer company. She not only moved her and her husband, she moved both her daughters, their families, and they set up a whole new life within the triangle. But now everyone has to be quiet. They're moving very, very slowly. They're getting set up in places, but they're doing one thing because they're scared. They are scared to death of the government. They're scared to death what's going to happen to their families. They're scared to death what the local ministers have had a field day with me. As long as I agree with them, well, they're fine. But when I say something they don't want to hear, Satan sent you. Well, the best I can tell you is the purpose that God has given these safe zones is for all of you to survive. All I can do is give you that message, and I will go on. If you need help, I can help you, but don't look to follow me. This isn't an occult. This isn't anything. You do one thing. You listen to hear, not hear. You listen to your heart. Your heart is going to tell you what you have to do. The time is now. Japan today had 5.7 on the Richter scale, the earthquake I told them about last week. How many more signs does everyone have to have before they say, either something's going on here or he's pretty doggone lucky? You know, that's what you have to understand. These safe zones are yours. I didn't give you these. God gave you these. These is for all races, of all people, of all religions that believe in God and Jesus Christ, the Holy Mother and the Holy Spirit. They're set here for you. They're not here for me. I can build them. I'll do everything I can to help build them. But I'm never allowed to enter one. When these things come to pass, my family can enter. Everyone I've ever talked to can enter. I'm not allowed to enter one. And it's not for me to say, you know, well, golly, gee whiz, I can't do it. I'm not allowed to. That's not for me to decide. Wherever I have to go after that, I'll go. My son's 28 years old today. He should have been buried over 10 years ago. And if I would have listened, he would have been. That's all I care about. You can look at me as a fruitcake or I'm crazy, so I'm going to give you guys something you can look forward to. You're going to see within the next 8 to 12 days, look to the West Coast. You're going to start seeing mudslides that's going to literally take thousands of homes. Now, I told them the rains and the storms were coming before they even got here. Well, that was a lucky guess. I told them what was going to be happening in China and within the Middle East. Again, that was another lucky guess. How many times do people have to hear something before they start saying, this isn't a lucky guess? These events are taking place. It is what each and every one of you choose to do with it. I don't have the power to beg you. I don't have the power to do anything to you. All I can tell you is look for the safe zone in your area. You do something with it. I'll help any way I can help. I'll show you what has to be built. I will help you build it. I will get the funds somehow to get them built. But I'm not going to stand there and babysit it. This is for you, not for me. No one owns the Gabriel Foundation. The Gabriel Foundation is owned by all the people. The board of directors it has is the people. You all have to understand, you're not having all this wonderful time. There's not much left. The disasters are here. They're taking place. What you're seeing taking place right now in Iraq, it is going to stop faster than it began. I told people before the conflict even started, it was going to begin, but it would stop faster than it began. They are not ready. Iraq, Iran, Syria, Lebanon, they're averaging between 72% efficiency to 86% efficiency. They've already been told by their Chinese advisors, and let me explain that a little bit. Chinese advisors are basically towards Iran, Libya, and I think Gaddafi's got a little bit to do with them too, but he likes to stay undercover a lot. You're looking at what's happening within Iraq. That is coming from China and the Soviet Union. The advisors have told them, back off, you're not ready. They have the nuclear capability there. They all do. But until they're 100% efficient, you'll not feel it. You'll not see anything. You're going to be looking by your year of 2003 to 2004. You're going to see devastation in the United States like you've never, ever in your wildest dream imagined. You're going to see by around, I would say, midsummer, end of summer, you're going to see a false peace signed. This treaty is going to be for 7 years. This treaty is going to be broken in half that span. It's only going to last between 36 to 38 months. When this treaty is broken, and you're going to be looking again, 2003, 2004, the United States is going to be crippled from what they're going through. The only problem is when they're crippled and they're the weakest, that's when you're going to see the attacks begin on the United States. Their targets are key targets, it's major cities, not only here, also in Europe. These things can't change. God gave mankind the crossroads to follow. God has given mankind the opportunity to make the right decision. God has not done any of this. He is a forgiving God, yes. But mankind is the one that's like a child. They tire of one game, they play another. And that's what's taking place now. These events is going to happen. The computer chip, I tried to tell people 2 years ago that's going to be taking place. They thought it was, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Right now, it is in widespread use throughout the new, I call it the new, it's again soon to be the new world order. It's within the new Euro government. They're implanting it in the right hand across the forehead. They want to make it mandatory behind one of the ears of a child. With this chip, the message that Gabriel gave, you're better off to kill yourselves or your children, because if you have it done, you have condemned yourself to hell eternal. It cannot change. They can pinpoint any location any person is at in the world via satellite. You're going to see by your year 2000, at least 2000, January 2001, when it clicks over midnight, 12:01, you're going to see such chaos in the world over these computers. You're going to see men become poor and destitute in a matter of just a few seconds. But there's something that's kind of unusual. The new Euro government, right now in Spain, it's the largest supercomputer ever built in the world is there now. Widespread production of armaments is taking place right now within the new Euro government. They've just ordered over 750 new warplanes. That is, what do they call that? When there is supposed to be a bomb go off, these are supposed to not be affected from the magnetic field. They've got 750 of these planes they have just ordered. They're coming in from the US, they're coming in from France. They pulled over. This is my first encounter with the FBI. I called them. I said, you're going to see first a Turkish trawler. Then you'll see three ships coming from China. The second ship from the back, the third ship from the front will be a ship. Its cargo hold is loaded with anti-nuclear devices and components and missiles destined for Iran and Iraq. Well, when he got done laughing, that was another one, and maybe it's because they're from Georgia, but he said, that is about the most ludicrous thing I think I've ever heard. But he said, give me your social security number. Yeah. And he said, give me your name and your address and your age. And he said, don't give me a false one, because when I dialed their emergency number, they knew who I was before I knew who I was. And CNN confirmed it 4 months later. They pulled the ships over. And they boarded. The British boarded the ship with the Americans, and guess what they found on board? Exactly what I told them. They have a radius right now of 2,000 miles. They need more to reach some of the targets within the U.S. These people are not joking around. You have to understand, the Muslim world, everything that mankind has done is being blamed on the Western world. There are so many people coming out of the cracks of the woodwork talking about, I'm the prophet of doom, I'm God's. Any person I know that is a true messenger, that gives true gifts, it's not used for financial gain. It is used to give the message to the people. You can compare. No messenger, their message, no two is different. They're all the same. And if you think about something else, they're normally the poorest. But they don't stop. They'll continue, and I'll continue. And I'm not going to stop. All of you have to start doing something now. Don't listen to me. Listen to your hearts. The news media is so tight here. You cannot understand. Saturday and Sunday is my European call day. And I'm starting about 6:45, sometimes 7:15 in the morning. I'm on the phone well, I own part of the phone company. But I stay on the phone all day long until that night, catching up on media events that's taking place. These things are here. Why don't they show it over here in the United States? Why is it such a big secret? Why is it every time a group of people, as they say, like we are, get together, well, it's a conspiracy. Or, it's terroristic plotting. Or there is so many different things that you can call it. But the bottom line is, don't listen to anyone. Don't listen to me. Look in the back of the Bible towards Revelation. I'm not a prophet. I'm not a psychic. I'm not a minister. I don't really know my Bible that well. Not that I don't believe in God, but there's 250 variations of the Bible. And everyone that's affiliated with one will argue, mine's correct. I go by what I'm told. And so far what I've been told is not to mislead the people. It's not to take money falsely. It's not to tell people to go out and do this and do that. It's not to tell people follow me. It's not to tell people to be supporters of me. It's to tell people prepare, it's coming, it's here now. The first 4 months are here. It's not even halfway over yet. And look at the devastation alone within the United States. But does it tell anyone anything? They see it. You might see 5 seconds of it. When the earthquake hit the central region of Italy, I tried telling people, my God, they got to get away from here. They can't stay here. Well, that fell on deaf ears too. They seem to think, well, central region, northern region, and you think it's going to be okay. Well, again, can I have your social security number and your address? How many things have to be told? You can hear, it's very easy for you all to hear what I'm trying to say to you. But you remember one thing. The lives of the people that's been taken from the things that I know, this will be on my conscience for the rest of my life. Not yours. This is what I have to look at. The things that's getting ready to come, I have to look at. But the ones that ridicules the loudest and says, oh, this is bizarre, it's a farce, I don't believe a lick of it. Guess who's going to be the one screaming the loudest when it begins to happen here more often? They're all going to be the ones screaming the loudest. It doesn't matter if you're rich or if you're poor. All that matters is help. Listen. Have a better understanding with God. If it wasn't for him, you wouldn't have a safe zone. It's plain and simple. You have to understand what's taking place. It's not going to go away. It's not going to vanish. Oh, thank you. I spilled the other one all over me. Okay.
Here's another one here.
Am I almost out of time? I'm sorry.
No, you've got 9 minutes.
9 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh boy, I better talk fast. Anyway, the bottom line that I'm trying to tell all of you, Linda Vepula has the newsletter and some of the transcripts of the messages. Any one of you that call me or want to do something, I have got the largest phone. I think I'm rating up there with a Fortune 500 company. I mean, my phone bill's larger than my mortgage payment. I'll get back with you. Somehow I'll get back with you. I will help anyone here that needs the help. Only those that know me and that have talked to me, and the people here that I've talked to has never talked to me before, except maybe one time on the telephone, and I've given personal messages. Those messages will never be made public to anyone, but they know the accuracy of what I've told them. And they also know the gift that they have within them. Each one of you have a gift, or you would not be here. They're talking about satanic worship. It's here. God gave us the triangles, but he made it very clear. I have given unto my people the golden triangle in which to survive. It is up to my people to rid Satan and his followers from within these triangles and move them out. If you don't act on them now, they will. They have the same message coming from Satan that I have coming from God. But you've all got to do something about this. Don't let it rise anymore. You look to the West Coast within the next week to 14 days. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You look towards the Middle East here within about the next week, week and a half. You'll see who's going to be pulling out of what. You look towards China within the next 3 months, what's going to be taking place over there. I could stand here all night and try to tell you what's going to be taking place. It will do you no good. You know what God wants you to do. And if you have that gift and you're misleading these people, Only you and you alone. You don't answer to me. You don't even have the option of saying, Jesus, please forgive me. If you say you have a gift and you're using it to take advantage of people, you'll answer to God. And I know I'm going to. I still drink beer, I still smoke cigarettes. And people say, well, Danny, what the heck is wrong with you? I said, you tell me. But I won't give up either one. I've been told to, but I won't. But you know, you've got to survive till 2012. That's all I can tell each and every one of you. You've got to survive what's coming till 2012. For God's sakes, listen to your heart, not your mind. Satan will control your mind, not your heart. When you learn to control your heart, your mind will take over the rest. But don't be so naive to think, oh, well, he had a couple good lucky guesses. If you walk away now and you choose not to listen to the message that you have now, I'm sorry, you can't come back later. It doesn't work that way. These safe zones are yours. It's what you choose to do with them. And for God's sakes, huh?
Where are the other safe zones?
I'm sorry. I'm having them printed on a large map, but what I'm trying to do is get Gordon Michael Scallions to show people the more accuracy of the detail. And Lori's?
Lori Toy.
Yeah, Lori Toy. I'm trying to get hers to show people. There's one thing I'd like to say very quickly. When these things begin to happen, I met a young man from a payphone very, very briefly. He said, you can, oh, okay, 5 minutes. Whew, I'm going to talk fast. But anyway, he said that, you know, the government has a map, the real estate office. It's public knowledge. On this map, it shows all the major base closings, surface-to-air missile closings throughout the United States. And he said, Danny, he said, you don't know me. He said, I've got 2 strikes against me, or 3 strikes. 1, I'm black. 1, I have a wife and children. And I said, well, that's not a strike. That should be, you know, something to be proud of. He said, well, no, I fear for my family. He said, the 3rd one is because I'll lose my job. Every base they've ever closed within the continental United States, you can lay their maps over top of this real estate map from the government. And guess what? Everything that is going to be destroyed is not within the devastated areas. They've all been moved to this area of the United States. The bases, the few they do have left there, can be pulled out within 36 hours. Can you imagine? 150,000 troops can be pulled out in 36 hours. Amazing. But there's nothing here for any of us. That's what's important. Don't look at me or look to me. Look to your heart. Be very careful of what you're trying to say and who you're looking for and who you're listening to. Let your heart be your guide. And God bless all of you, because it's going to come a time we're all going to need it. And thank you so much for putting up with me. You don't have to hold your card up. I got 3 minutes. I can do a song and dance. Anyway, oh, that's hard to do with 3 minutes. Yes.
Questions are at microphone.
Could you please clarify what you were just saying about base closings? Did you mean that base closings would be in areas that are supposed to be destroyed anyway by the
areas, the government knows the same information. They have the same psychic network that everyone else has. What they're closing out, they're pulling out bases that they know is going to be devastated. If you take the maps from these 2 individuals and you lay them over top of the United States real estate map, it's ironic. Everything has been pulled away from the devastation or the devastated areas. It's already done. The presidential bunker has already been moved. It's now here in the east. It's not in the west any longer.
Got it. Thanks.
Okay. Could you just mention that thing about Gaddafi?
Wow, which one on Gaddafi?
The tunnel or something? The underground highway?
Oh, this came out here a while back, and I tried to tell people. I kept seeing people living like moles in the ground. And they started showing me this underground system. It's almost 30 kilometers long. You can drive 2 semi-trucks with trailers, box trailers, side by side through this tunnel system. It already exists. There was no way to prove it. This thing made headlines because a lot of the equipment they used to build this system came from the Republic of Germany. It's there, the network's finished. But he is only around 82 to 83% finished with what he has to do. This system was put in there because it cannot be tracked by radar. None of it can. That's where I seen, walking through the tunnel, people living like moles. Everything he has is moving underground. And the irony of the entire thing is, and like I said, our whole family is still in Germany. So many things has been coming from Germany to help build this. The underground complexes that's presently right now in Iraq. When these systems was built, they was taken away from the German contractors. There was no records of this. That was part of the agreement. This is when the United States was still with them. The irony of the whole thing is, now they can't find the doggone things. You know what I mean? You build something so good, now look what's happening. They're there, it's taking place. You will not see the first strike come from there until after the catastrophes begin to happen within the U.S. You're going to see an increase by 2003 to 2004. Within that time limit between 1998 and then, you're going to see an increase in everything tenfold. And it cannot be stopped. Time is up. Thank you. So thank you all for bearing with me.
Okay, thank you, Denny.